The Toronto Raptors win Game 3, 117-92 over the Eastern Conference's 7th seed, the Brooklyn Nets, to go to 3-0 for the franchise's very first time in the playoffs. It's Raptors Nightcap, or as Jack Armstrong playfully calls us, Happy Hour. And we're happy to have the man with us right now. It's Akil, Augustine, Randy Urban, Savanna Hamilton will join us on the flip side. But right now we got Jack Armstrong, and we're going to pick his brain right off the top. The Toronto Raptors had a huge game, 35 assists. The ball was flying around. But I think for a lot of us Raptors fans, this is a very different first round. There was no hiccups. The American broadcasters are still completely ignoring the Raptors' dominance over the Nets, talking about every other series other than. But Jack, as a lifer for this Raptors brand, talk to me about the fact that this is the first time this organization has been up 3-0 in a first-round series.
Well, you're right. This is year 25 of the franchise, and it's a great accomplishment considering the fact that they had their best regular season in franchise history. And now to couple that with this, you're looking at the opportunity on Sunday night to sweep, which would be really cool. And it also puts you in a position to have a few days to get settled in and get ready for a second-round opponent. Obviously, without Joe Harris, the Nets look like a team that's on their last legs. They're trying hard. They just don't have enough talent. And I think the Raptors in fits and starts, when they dialed in, they're really good. And they're doing some excellent things. I think Fred VanVleet, would be the guy that jumps out at me from the entire series so far. It was really encouraging to see how well Pascal Siakam played. I thought he got some easy shots at the rim today. And then when that happens, when you see the ball go through, it just opens things up for you a little bit. You stop. And Serge Ibaka off the bench was magnificent. And we've learned this about Serge Ibaka. We saw this in the playoffs a year ago. He seems to get better as the series goes on. He kind of figures out what he can and can't do against an opponent, what their weak spots are, and then he attacks them. I thought he was awesome today.
Yeah, Jack and Akil, I agree. I mean, the thing is, though, the Raptors have never really played a team this depleted and undermanned and beaten down as the Brooklyn Nets, right? Like this is not how do I put this? Not a playoff NBA team currently, the way they're composed. So, but having said that, I think this was the Raptors' best game, most complete game of the series so far. And I'm not trying to say I'm some big clairvoyant or anything like that, but I expected this, right? I've seen enough series that when the lower seeded team, the team that's far less superior, delivers their best punch, and the better team withstands it, punches back, and still wins the game. That's just so demoralizing for the other team. And I just didn't expect the Nets. I expected them to come out and play hard and fight like they did. But I just thought that the Raptors they were a wonderful combination of focused and relaxed, right? They were pointed in everything they did, but they shot the ball freely. They played freely while still playing hard.
Just at one point to what Randy said, you look at the fact that Temple and Caribou did not shoot the ball well at all for the Nets. You take Joe Harris out of the lineup, they're a different team, because this guy, Harris, is one of the elite shooters in the NBA today. And you take that out and you come up short in a game that you could have won in game 2. And now, not only this game, but you start thinking about the Sixers, you start thinking about other teams, and you say to yourself, you've been in the bubble for quite a while. What kind of fight do these teams have when they get down 0-2? What kind of fight do they have when they're down 1-3? And it'll be interesting to see how this all plays itself out. To me, I think in some ways, guys capitulate a little bit and just cave a little bit. And I think the Raptors picked on that today. Every chance the Nets gave them an opening, the Raptors jumped right in and really squashed out any hope.
And sorry, just to quickly jump in, just to that point, Jack, and it's so funny because you talk about the bubble. It's not like they can go home to Brooklyn and get energized by their own crowd, right? So there's that. It's a tough sell for them.
All right, Randy with the hot take. Raps got an advantage over Brooklyn. All right, Jack, let's talk about the simple fact that it's going to be hard to really get a grip of where this Toronto Raptors team stands with the other elites because, as you guys mentioned, they're playing a depleted team. But the one thing you can take away from this series that we've seen so far is the ball is flying across the court, and they've really been able to keep, I guess, one of their tenets and principles, not being one of those superstar teams, which is contributions from all over, not just in the scoring category, but also in the assist category.
Well, you're right. At the same time, I think Milwaukee's playing a team without Jonathan Isaac and Aaron Gordon in Orlando. Milwaukee had the best record in the NBA. And, oh, by the way, they lost a game. So the Raptors, of the top 4 seeds in the NBA, they're the only team that hasn't lost. So with all due respect to the Nets, they're still playing a 7 seed, and they're still playing somebody that beat some good teams to get where they are to get the 7 seed. So let's give the Raptors a little credit, too, and let's give the Nets a little bit of credit. I understand that they're on demand, but I agree with you, Akil. The ball was flying all over the place. You know what? It's interesting. When the Raptors don't turn the ball over, and today was, of the 3 games, their worst game in terms of ball protection compared to games 1 and 2. So they got to tighten the screws on that. I think they were playing at times too relaxed. But ask yourself this question. When they didn't turn the ball over, what kind of shots did they get? Overwhelmingly really good ones, wide ones. Why is that? Because they're sharing it. The ball's popping around. They got great spacing. They're using the dribble as a weapon. Their screen usage is really good. And overwhelmingly, they're just a really polished team.
Now we're about Pascal Siakam and his offense. Well, tonight it was there. You look at the numbers. It was 26, 8, and 5, of course. And I think, Randy, the impressive thing is, I'm always throwing Pascal on the post. People are talking about different ways to get him involved. You guys always anchor on the defensive end, which is what he's been able to do. But today was his movement, his cutting, and things like that Jack mentioned. It allowed him to kind of get a couple easy buckets to open his game up for himself.
Well, I think we can all agree, first of all, that we don't really have anything to worry about with Pascal Siakam, right? This was his most complete game, just like it was the Raptors' most complete team game. Even more decisive, I thought, with his drives. And when he did get it in the post, he didn't dilly-dally down there. He wasn't rushed, but he made a decisive move when he went. And I thought this was interesting. And I don't blame Jacques Vaughn for going to a zone to start the third quarter. But the Raptors at that point had made 10 of 21 from 3. And what does the zone do? It opens up the three-point shot a little bit. And that's when Siakam, coming into that third, hadn't made a 3. He bangs 2 more, sets up Fred, and he gets 2 little bunnies across, in close. So that little sequence, I felt like That's where we saw the Pascal from the regular season. That's where we saw the Pascal from the playoffs last year. And, it was great to see for sure. I mean, I wasn't worried. I just wanted more from him, and we got it tonight. And Jack, you mentioned Serge Ibaka earlier. I thought he was just terrific. He missed a couple of easy ones. And then, the Nets, when they were making their little run there in the second quarter, he responded with a part of 3 threes he made. What was he doing that was so effective other than that?
I just think he was getting great position inside. I think anytime he didn't have an Allen guarding him, he just said, I'm going to bully you. I'm trying to get deep post position, and I'm going to try to score over the top of you. And again, when you have good shooters around you, you're getting a lot of times single coverage, or that second defender's coming to you late, so you can turn your body and get right to the rim. And again, he's shooting the ball with a lot of confidence on the perimeter. I mean, he made all 3 of his threes today, and he's shooting the ball not only with confidence, but the word I always use, which is more important than confidence, and that's conviction. Like, hey man, this is going down because I'm good. I'm legit. I've paid the price. I know this is going in because I've put the sweat equity in, and this is going to happen for me because I'm as prepared as you come. So when you look at it, and they need that. I mean, think about it. If they can get Marcus Gasol going as well, they're an incredibly dangerous team with those 2 guys playing at the 5 spot. When you put those 2 guys together for 48 minutes, I think the Raptors have the best 5-man position in the league when you put it together. There'll be times, guys, as you know, as we go further along in the playoffs, they're going to have to play together sometimes. So they'll have to complement each other a little bit. And they've done that in the past, and they've done it well.
How much better is he passing out of the double team, or just passing in general, right? Like, this is where I see Ibaka's marked improvement. I mean, you don't have to comment on it too much, but I just think that he used to kind of get going downhill and didn't know what to do. And now he's finding guys on the wing. He got doubled. He found OG underneath for an easy 2. Like, it's just so much better. He's playing so much more composed.
Randy, I'll make one quick point to that. And I think it's the same. They trust the other guys that they play with now. Really, they understand. I mean, Serge Ibaka hasn't played with the Raptors for 7 years. He's been here, 2.5, 3 years? I mean, I think he is at a point, and we saw that in the playoffs last year. He knows he's going to get his touches. He knows he's going to be able to feel the leather. So he's not worried about things. So if he gets it and it's not a great situation for him, he's not thirsty. He's not needy. He'll give it up. And when you play with guys that they're going to give it to you, and if you give it to them, they'll give it back to you. And I see the same thing with Norm Powell now. Norm Powell moves without the ball better. He's trusting the fact that the ball will find him. And when he gets it and it's not his turn, he'll find somebody else. And I think that's the subtle thing that we call chemistry. And you're really seeing complete and total buy-in from both of those guys. That's why when they come in off the bench, as much as they give you instant offense, I really think not only do they give you instant offense, they want to contribute to the group, not just for their scoring numbers.
All right, Jack, let's talk about the 3-point shooting for this Toronto Raptors team, because across the league, it's probably the most important thing outside of defense when you talk about winning games. And I think one of the things I notice is, like, Fred, Kyle, when they come down on the break, when they're pushing and playing fast pace, there's the threat of that 3-point shot. And just the fact that you've got to press up on them because they're taking those early threes also opens up so many opportunities in terms of passing lanes and drive opportunities when guys get off their feet.
No, it's a great point you make because I think as we go forward, and if they end up playing Boston, who's up 2-0 right now on Philly, you're going to see Boston, who's a very good defensive team with good perimeter people and quickness. I mean, you think of a guy like Marcus Smart. He's a terror out there. He's tough to score on. So you're going to he's going to be meeting you 30 feet away from the basket. So you're going to have that herky-jerky part of your game where you go right by him because he's meeting you as a shooter, and you got to be able to get to the lane. So it's going to be really important as they go forward in their transition game to get tons of paint touches, because the more paint touches you get, The more opportunities then for kick-out threes that you get, opportunities you get for shots, obviously, at the rim. The defense is broken down, and the second defender's coming to the ball. You get offensive rebound putbacks, and the defense is a step behind. So you make a great point. There's no doubt if I'm Brad Stevens, if I'm getting ready to play the Raptors, I'm telling guys, absolutely, I got to make sure I meet Fred VanVleet and Kyle Lowry at the half-court line. If you're playing against Damian Lillard, wouldn't you do the same thing, right? You play against Steph Curry, wouldn't you do the same thing? But those guys open things up for others because of their shooting distance.
All right, Jack, we know you put an honest day's work today, calling the game and then coming through to join us. So we want to thank you so much for your time. Go free up, go live your life, Jack, and we'll hand things off to Pascal Siakam, who now joins the broadcast team with his post-game comments.
Thanks.
All right, we're going to go first to Aaron Rose from SI.com.
Hey, Pascal, congrats on the win. It's the first time in franchise history that you guys have gone up 3-0 in a series, and I'm wondering what that means, what taking a lead like that means to you.
Not much, I don't think. I don't think, I didn't even know that. We didn't focus on that. I think for us to just continue to focus on games and just playing game by game. Like every game is going to be different, and we just got to come out with the same focus and intensity every game, trying to accomplish something. And, our goal is always to win. And, that's what we came into the game for. And I don't think we were worried about that. And it's just about taking every game and then just going out there and trying to get a win every single time.
Sure. Fred has been exceptionally hot lately. I'm wondering what your reaction to his end of the first half three-pointer was.
I think he practices every game before. We got a little shot where he always shoots from half court, so I feel like he's used to it. I'm surprised. I don't know if it's the first time or not, but I feel like he's used to it.
Thank you.
Next, we have Josh Lewenberg from TSN.
Hey, Pascal, congrats on the win. Normally in the days leading up to Game 3, you guys are traveling, dealing with the airports, hotels, all of that, and then obviously playing in front of a road fans. Was there a benefit to not having to deal with that here so far in this series, just sort of being another day going into Game 3?
I have no idea, to be honest. I think just being in this environment and trying to get used to everything that's happening and kind of making this kind of like home, it's been complicated. I think for us now is kind of getting accustomed to it and just continue to treat it like every single day. And then, like you said, it doesn't feel like it's a home game or away game. The colors probably change in the arena, but that's about it. So I think for us, it's just focusing on the game and game plan, just coming out and executing and doing what we want to do.
What allowed you to sort of take over there in the third quarter?
And just continue, like I said, man. Like I'm worried about winning, and I think every way that I can help my team win, and that's what I'm gonna do. And for me, I think for a lot of people, it's always about mix and misses. For me, it's not about that. It's about continuing to have the same focus and energy, continue to get to my spots and taking the shots that I want to take. And live with the results. So I think I'm gonna do that for because I work on these things and I'm confident in what I do and how much I put into my game. So I just gotta let the game come to me, man. Continue to play, have fun out there, enjoy playing with my teammates, play hard on defense, and the rest, just gonna take care of yourself. Thanks,
Pascal. Have a good night.
Next, we go to Michael Grange of Sportsnet.
Hey, Pascal, you were pretty active in the paint, and you some catches off off cuts that your teammates found you. How important is that for you to kind of feel energized when you're getting some attempts at the rim and guys are looking for you, just cutting through the paint and things like that, and maybe out in transition?
I think we have the advantage there, so we just try to use whatever advantage that we have, and that's what we're gonna do. Continue to move, cut. And try to get to the paint against, especially when the big man is not in the game. So I think that I'm just taking whatever the defense gives me.
Do you kind of build your offense from inside out? Like, do you focus on that a little bit? Like
not really. It's about taking whatever the defense gives me and taking the shots that I work on.
Great. Appreciate that, man. Have a good night.
Next, we go to Mike Ganter from the Toronto Sun.
Hey, Pascal. A couple times today and a couple times in the past few games, you've been, you've been in attack mode, and you really haven't got the benefit of the whistle. Just wondering how much you're thinking about. I remember DeMar when he was sort of getting to this point where he got to the point where he would get calls, and how he went through that and the frustration level. How much of that are you thinking about these days?
I hope I can get there. I can get there one day, but to be honest, like I try my best, not to focus on the referees and just go and continue playing and not worrying about it. I think it's on me to go out there and finish it, and if I get calls or I don't get calls, I got to focus on finishing, and I think every single play that should be my focus, and the whistle, not worry about it. To be honest, that's what I got to be able to do.
I got it. Thanks, Pascal.
All right, game over for game 3. Game 4 goes 6:30 Sunday, 6:30 Eastern time, 3:30 p.m. Pacific. And the Raptors will have an opportunity to close out the number 7 seed Brooklyn Nets. Right now, to close out our show, we got to bring in, she's way higher than a 7 seed, I imagine. Savanna Hamilton, what's poppin'?
Saying the Raptors continue to lead by very many, and Serge is having himself a day. Followed that by Alex, who's also a great writer. He was saying that the Raptors are going to be the first championship team with 16 different leading scorers in their 16 different playoff wins. Writers are having some fun today, as Ryan Woolsat also says Marc Gasol has passed a couple of great dudes in the playoff assists as a Raptor today, including Corey Joseph and Alvin Williams. Thought that was kind of interesting. Josh Bloomberg tweeted, said, for the first time in franchise history, the Raptors will go up 3-0 in a playoff series. Very significant. And of course, 2 of those wins will have been over wire-to-wire variety. They'll go for their first ever series sweep on Sunday. We got a few Facebook comments today, really great. Andrew says, having a championship pedigree has the Raptors playing with conviction, as Jack mentioned. And Mahar said, prediction, hope it will come to 4 straight, just 1 to go, 3 rightfully come unusually, and congratulations to the Raptors. So glad to see the Facebook comments coming back in. Guys, quick question for you. What are your expectations coming in game 4, especially that being the hardest game to close out a series?
Ooh, well, I don't think Jacques Vaughn has many more cards to play. I think today in game 3, we saw him at some point take the chains off of Tyler Johnson as a feature scorer and kind of gave him as much room as he could to create some kind of spark for the group. And if you look down the bench and the roster of the Brooklyn Nets, especially, if they're going to miss Joe Harris, I don't know there's a scenario where this team can muster and manufacture anything to come up against what the Toronto Raptors have built. So I imagine a couple of brooms in the building. Right, Randy?
I'd have to agree. I mean, I do expect the Nets to come out and play hard like they've done for all 3 of the games. I think the Raptors are just better, and it's clear on every facet of the game. I mean, let's talk a little bit about Caris LeVert and what he was doing coming into this series. He was averaging 25 points in the bubble. He almost single-handedly put out the Portland Trailblazers. The Portland Trailblazers that are going to put out the Lakers, according to Charles Barkley.
That flame got put out last night.
Okay, we'll see. But the Raptors held him again to 15 points. LeVert hit his first threes of the series this game, but still had only 15. He's averaging 15 after coming in 25. I mean, you can't say enough about the job they're doing on the player that they do have. And for the Nets side, I think they're just going to be continuing to evaluate who they're going to want to keep around for next year. And I like Tyler Johnson. I like the way he played today. I like that he wasn't scared. I like that he
can't be coming in on that price tag, though. That price tag is not helping.
No, that contract's got to be up now. What are the numbers on that?
It better be over this year. I will say this. Everybody's on the Karis LeVert train, and they're championing Karis LeVert. No disrespect to Karis LeVert, but I think the media has done the disrespect to the Toronto Raptors in engaging this Karis LeVert conversation over the Toronto Raptors conversation. Because when I'm watching ESPN, when I was watching some of the previews to this series, it was like, okay, we're talking about Karis LeVert as opposed to talking about the Raptors defense, as opposed to talking about Fred VanVleet or Pascal Siakam. I don't know. To me, it was odd. Savanna, I want to thank you so much for your contributions and for keying us up here. Randy, I know I took a whole lot of time there. Anything you want to get off your chest before the closeout game?
Yeah, I want to say Fred VanVleet is the man. The kid's averaging 22 points, 9 assists. Akil, he's 17 for 31 from 3 in the series.
And they're talking about Karis LeVert.
Right. Yeah. Point taken. Honestly, the guy's having himself a series. Like he could lead the Raptors in scoring. Like, that's how well he's playing. He ate the bull.
For all our Canadians out there. Shouts out to Coach Jack Armstrong. Shouts out to the Coach of the Year, Nick Nurse, right? I mean, if you don't vote for him, I mean, you should be disenfranchised. Savannah Hamilton, of course, as always, Patrick Choi, Jake LaRue, Jake's mom, Randy Urban. Anybody else? I think that's it. My name is Akil Augustine. This has been Raptors Nightcap, brought to you by the good folks at Sterling Vineyards, experts in Napa Valley wine.
Where's the Sterling at?
Really bad. Yeah, where's the Sterling at? I'm an expert in bad basketball and consuming Napa Valley wine. Should make next episode very interesting. Love you, everybody. What's my line again? Keep following.